Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Goal Study Abroad. Today I have with me someone who started her career as an analyst. To be specific, Renewal Operations Analyst. She started her career at one of the top 10 SaaS companies and is currently working as a Renewal Ops Manager. If someone doesn't know what a renewal is, I want to give you an example. If you subscribe to something for a year, on the last day of the year when your subscription is about to end, you are up for a renewal. So we will be hearing from her about her career. Can you please talk about your roles and responsibilities in your current job?
My roles and responsibilities are pretty vast. I wear many hats, but I would say the three key themes or areas are forecasting and planning and the analytics that go along with that. So really understanding our entire customer base, what's available, what we might estimate to become available throughout the rest of the year, any known risks, losses. And so the forecasting and planning go hand in hand, whereas like for forecasting, we're looking at things in real time for the most part and how current trends are coming in. And usually for planning, it's more of a historical and full annual view for the upcoming year. But there's lots of analytics and trends that go into that as well. So whether it's, competitive risks from our customer base in different areas, or it might be a market or demand risk. So maybe we have products that are in a declining market. There's also a little bit of outside information that we try to gather as well in order to inform our assumptions. And then the other areas, I would say the second one is enablement. So sales enablement, customer success, CX enablement, allowing those leaders and enabling them to be able to understand their customer base, the data, their renewals and responsibilities. And they're also set up to on like an annual target against those numbers and those renewals. So it's a bit of a combination of helping them understand their customer base, but then also informing them of how they're doing and of any risks, and also having like that relationship with them as well for them to tell you the same. And then really making sure that they understand and can interpret the results and drive business outcomes or pivot and make changes based off of that data. And then I would say the third area of my roles and responsibilities is really working with all cross-functional areas of the business, because every aspect of the business kind of ties into renewals, from product and R&D, because customers want features added or they might be leaving because certain features are behind the market, to marketing, making sure that everyone from our largest customers to customers who only have $20 spend with us have some sort of marketing information, and that we're not necessarily communicating any negative information or neglecting our customers. To leadership, whether it's the actual product team leadership, business operations, the CEO, CFO, everyone has their hands in renewals. And so it's a very unique job, because typically, someone who's in lots of data doesn't necessarily have lots of exposure to the business. It's a very high visibility, high stakes role. So you also have to be able to summarize that really complex and vast information in a concise and clear format. A lot of executives, they only got a couple of minutes sometimes, or to read an email or to get an answer from you so they can be informed with their teams and decision making.
What are the most important skills that you think are required for your job?
The most important skills are a combination of technical and, I would say, soft skills. So the technical skills are being really comfortable and able to work with really large sets of data and understand that those large sets of data, be able to make insights or actionable insights and interpret that information for hundreds of millions of customers. The other areas would be kind of a creative thought process, because a lot of things are going to change on the fly, whether it's a pandemic or a new competitor that's stealing all of your customers. Things are always going to change and surprise you, and a lot of things might not have been done before. So always kind of keeping that in the back of your head, that you're planning for the future when you're making decisions, trying to establish processes and manipulate data in a way that makes it repeatable and also makes it clean over time. Aside from that, the soft skills, being able to summarize information really clearly, present those really large data sets to in a very concise and clear format, whether it's graphics or tables, and understanding who your audience is and not, overloading them with information. And then I would say also like being curious. You have to have some curiosity. You have to enjoy a challenge. There's lots of things that are going to come at you every day that are very unexpected, and you're never busy or bored. So you also have to keep that in mind.
Makes perfect sense. Technical skills, and then always thinking of the big picture, that something different might happen. Like recently we had the leap year Feb 28 days issue.
Yes.
There were 3 days missing. Then just going into issues like that, which are new, doesn't happen all the time, and then coming up with a solution that would be applicable to future years or future months makes perfect sense. And communication, 100%. It can be in person or it can be in email. You don't want to put, as an analyst, too much information on the email, because it goes to leadership and they don't have to read too long, don't read kind of emails. So just a summary, they see it, they know what's happening, and that's it. So people underestimate simplicity, that they think, writing one line or one kind of snapshot of analysis wouldn't be a big deal. But we have so many things available to us that just boiling it down to something small becomes very challenging. What advice would you give to someone who wants to be a renewal operations analyst or a renewal analyst or an analyst? What advice do you have for them?
I would say if you're a student, get your hands on getting into as many data manipulation software that there is. So Excel, you need to know Excel. Even if you are in data science and understand SQL or Python, you're going to need Excel in your day-to-day and any analytics role in modern day business. I've yet to come across a company that doesn't live and breathe in Excel to some extent. Get data offline if you can. There's resources out there, and start manipulating data in Excel, looking up formulas. Google is going to be your friend. And then for students and people that are working already professionally later in their career, if you're in an analytical function, there's definitely trends coming with automation, artificial intelligence, that will kind of make some of our skills obsolete. And so being as well versed as you possibly can. So if you can learn how to write SQL or use R or Python, anything that enables you to automate things and will make you very, very valuable. And data visualization tools. So Tableau is the one that I'm most familiar with. I know that Tableau Public, I think, is free to download online, and Tableau is free for students. If you just have a .edu email address, download it. Again, data available online. Start messing around with it, and don't be scared to try things. I had never done what I did, this specific role, before I started doing it. So if an opportunity presents itself and you're overwhelmed because you don't have some of the skills, you can learn on the job. You will learn on the job every single day. Outside of that, I would say read anything from, just overall, business nerdy books like the Four Cornerstones of Value Creation is one of my favorite books. It's by it's what some of the McKinsey analysts, but it just, those principles are very important if you're working in a business. And then aside from that too, like analyst reports or market leaders. So I look at Gartner and try to see like what our competitors are stacked up against us. Being aware if there's a new threat. I think when I started at LogMeIn, Zoom was really kind of charging up the market. So that was something that I was really focused on and aware of because of those things. And then like McKinsey and BCG, they'll put out research from market trends and over the next 10 years to workforce trends. So being aware, like maybe one of your softwares is set up to help people work in the office. That might be something that you want to try to pivot and find another use for that for, or at least be aware of if you're looking at your customer base and trying to figure out how you're going to retain customers and why customers might churn, what their use cases are. Those types of market insights will enable you to be informed and ahead of time and not be surprised and like confused when you start losing customers or customers are upset about certain functionality.
You have to be Excel ninja if you have to be an analyst. Even data scientists have to know how to do some things in Excel, because sometimes other systems, SQL or Python, may be time consuming. You don't want to write code. You just want to dump data into Excel and just do something quick because there's a time constraint. So there are many use cases to Excel, but I agree 100%. I've worked in 3 different companies in the US and all of them use Excel, and most of the people are using Excel. And they like when you send something in Excel. It's easy for them to open, read, understand, and see what you have done. And the other tools you mentioned, SQL or Python, are also very helpful. Most of the analyst positions would mention like these are nice to have, but if you have those, definitely gives you advantage over everyone else. So you should definitely work on those and build those skills. And there are so many online sites. You don't even have to download data. They would just give you data on their website. You can just write your code and practice and do stuff. But the best advice I had found was to find a project, find data for that, and do analysis in all 3. Like you do analysis in SQL, you do analysis in Excel, and you do analysis in Tableau. So you can see how something is done in all the 3 tools, and then you can see how much effort it takes and you get used to it. So when the same scenario comes up, you know which is the best tool you can use.
That's actually great, because like right now I'm in a new role and I'm not like super busy. I like started doing like a Coursera class on like SQL, and I think at the end of it it's like, I think it's Python, not R, like intermediate. But like I'm trying to do that so I can start like practicing and maybe ramping up those skills a bit before I'm overwhelmed.
The thought process is executives don't really care what data you give to them, like where it is coming from. So it's all about getting things done. How you do it doesn't really matter. They're paying you to figure out how to get it done. You can do it in Excel, you can do it in SQL, in Tableau, download data, build something. They don't care. They just need to see the final result. As you said, that they just have 2 minutes or 5 minutes to look at your data, and they won't really care how you came up with it. And I really love the part where you mentioned you should look at other analysts publishing the reports from McKinsey or BCG or Gartner. That just shows the curiosity piece that you mentioned before, that you're curious about being a data analyst and you're looking at all the reports and trying to see what they're doing, how they're doing. And it definitely helps seeing their visualization. So it stays in your mind, somewhere back in your mind, that, this was very beautiful. This gave me all the answers I needed in a very simplified form, so I could use it in something I am building. So it can be an inspiration for you. So there are many advantages of following those reports that are published and being aware of what's happening in the market and the trends.